Well, 3.5 years isn't a long time. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Sorry Baby was distributed by A24. It was written and directed by Eva Victor, and she also stars as Agnes, who's living a nice, quaint life at a nice house with an adorable cat, and I'm always down to see a movie with an adorable cat. Man, I just love kitty cats. Adopt, don't shop. Make sure that you check shelters and you check to make sure you give a cat a proper home and you raise it properly and it will love you back. And that's the thing, I love me some kitty cats. Just had to shout that right there. Let's get back to the review. Agnes also works a good job in the city, grading papers all night and day, teaching kids about literature, such as Lolita, my oh my. But there are things that keep on rolling and strolling through her brain now. Strolling, rolling through all the emotions. And yeah, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to keep this as spoiler free as possible. If you've seen the trailer, you probably have a pretty good idea what happened and how the story is going to go. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I do have to say that Eva Victor is magnificent as a writer, as a director, and playing Agnes. The range of emotions, despite having an at the time, oftentimes rather, blank expression, it's the eyes, it's just the feel like, this is my life, don't you forget this is my life, and I don't want it to end. And that's something that Liddy is worried about. Liddy, her best friend, blood sister, however you want to go about it, you don't need blood to be family, played by Naomi Ackie, who is in Blink Twice, as well as Mickey 17. They have been friends since school, and even though life has taken them in different directions, Liddy is just wanting to make sure Agnes is okay. Well, Agnes is assuring her she's okay, and she just wants Liddy to live her life, but also to visit her because she cares about her and everything. There are other characters in this. We do jump back in time a little bit, not too far in time, but just to tell the story about how we got to where the beginning was, because yes, the beginning ends up actually being near the end of the movie. And also we have a professor, Preston Decker. I'm leaving the actor's name for the spoiler section. You know why if you've seen the movie. There's also I guess you could say kind of friend, but kind of also not friend. She's part of the group that still gets together from college. Natasha, played by Kelly McCormack, who was in Another Simple Favor. That was a terrible movie, but it wasn't her fault. And you also have a neighbor, Gavin, played by Lucas Hedges, who is in Lady Bird and Waves. Waves, my favorite movie of 2019. Lady Bird, great role by Saoirse Ronan. And Lucas has been in some great stuff. And also a great cameo by John Carroll Lynch, who was the doctor in Babes, and he was hilarious. Gut-bustingly hilarious. Babes also made me cry. I didn't expect that. He also was a clown in American Horror Story Freak Show and was in 1984. American Horror Story 1984. I assume that he was still alive in 1984 because I believe he's at least in his 50s, which would put him as at least on this earth at that point. Nevertheless, I was born in 1981. We get some chapters that tell the story about this, and we start off with the year with the baby because basically that is, that's kind of the baby part of Sorry Baby. That's all I'm going to say as far as any spoilers and anything right now before I get into spoilers. But this is one of my favorite films of the year, and Eva was great. She was great. And this is something you need to check out. I drove about 80 miles round trip just to catch this in theaters as soon as possible. And I was so glad I did. It's moving, it's awkwardly hilarious, but the awkwardly hilarious moments somehow make the serious moments hit even harder. There is one particular scene, a driving scene, that will stick in my mind, and the ending is going to stick with me for quite a while because it is very moving, it's very haunting, and it's just, it's what's said, but it's also what's conveyed by just a couple characters looking at each other. So it's going to be widely distributed very, very soon, but I'm going to get into spoilers because I got a lot to talk about. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So, trigger warning for anybody that has been a victim of assault. That kind of assault. I'm choosing my words carefully. The spoiler section is going to contain that because the reason I left Preston Decker's, the actor's name off is because it's Louis Cancel Me. That can't be a coincidence. that can't. He plays his role well. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, that can't be a coincidence. That's just expert casting. That is just fucking great. But we do start off with the year with the baby, and then we get some talk between the two friends when Lydia arrives because she's gonna spend a weekend with her best friend, and they talk about like how men are with their dicks and everything. Well, in particular, Agnes does. How, oh, you like that, you like that, oh, you like my dick. Like, you know, it's like their dick is their whole being. Ha, whole being, I'm sorry. And Gavin arrives. Gavin is the neighbor, not to borrow a cup of sugar, well, to borrow a cup of her sugar, because yes, they're fucking. That's revealed a little bit later on. Just saying. And Natasha is bitchy to, well, she's pretty much bitchy towards everybody. She's especially bitchy towards Agnes, but even Liddy to an extent. And we find out why a little bit later. Then the book Lolita, which is a bit of an allegory given what happens a little bit later on. And Agnes is excited about her new job because she has a big office. And her words are, I can see why he likes it. Then we go to the year with the bad thing. I'm not... Decker kind of makes her feel special, talks about her papers being extraordinary, has an ex-wife, has a kid, mentions this, invites her to his house to interact, and then some hours later she leaves and she's just walking. Just walking. Yes, indeed, she's walking. One person mentions her shoelaces are untied. She get no talk. No, besides that person, no talking from her. No mumbling. Stoic expression. Gets in the car, drives. There's a car following her. I thought it might have been Decker, but they never follow up on that, so I don't think it was. But then, yeah, it turns out the Decker assaulted her. And there is Eva recounting this is just haunting. Just like she wasn't sure what she wanted as far as relationships or anything and that kind of stuff. And actually there is a little bit of something in another chapter, I think, that indicates maybe how conflicted Agnes is about herself. But yeah, she took a bath and then went to the hospital. And the doctor, by the way, Mark Carver, actually had a pretty good role here. He said, well, you should have gone to the police because then they could have run an R kit. I'm, again, choosing my words carefully. And he was kind of prickly, and he wasn't... I don't think he meant to be rude, but at the same time, he doesn't know what she went through. And Naomi did great in this. She was bowing up at that, and that was some good stuff. That was some fine goddamn acting. And Agnes like, oh, I'll make sure to remember that the next time this happens. Because you kind of use humor as a shield. And the university women basically end up saying, you know, to her, after it's revealed that Decker immediately requested his transfer because he's running away from all this stuff. And wow, I mean, yeah, not facing the music is one. Doing that in general is one that you deserve to be punished no matter who you are. And I'm talking about anybody that does that, regardless of what gender, what age you are. Ridiculous. But then he runs from the goddamn thing. These two university women are like, we can't really do anything, but it's like, we know what you're going through. We are women. And she's like, what? We are women. So then we go to the year with questions, and she gets to do jury duty. And the reason I say she might have some questions about herself, and I think maybe that was the point of this chapter, is for what gender are you, male or female? Female, but with a circle in the middle and an arrow pointing to that. Identifying as female, perhaps trans. I'm dancing around this because I'm not sure. I don't know if Ava Victor is. If so, I do apologize. Now that I think about it, I do apologize if I got the pronouns wrong. I do apologize for that. But it... Yeah, the year with the questions would be very, very tough as far as, you know, jury duty, and she practically pours her heart out to the jury, so to speak, but realizes she can't do this. Oh, and also, just before that chapter, she's walking to the store and then sees the adorable kitty cat as a kitten, and it's mewing at her, and the cat distribution center works because, there you go, or cat distribution system, center, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The cat ends up basically saying, please take me home, and she picks it up, hugs it. It's like, oh, I think I'm in love with you. You want to come home with me? And she takes it to the local store, gets some food. And the shopkeeper's even like, do you have a cat with you? No, I don't. And trying to cover it up. Well, enjoy your cat food. Cat's adorable. And then the the year with the good sandwich, and that's where John Carroll Lynch's talk comes in about 3.5 years isn't a long time. I mean, it is, but it isn't. They're eating a sandwich because right before that, she's driving after having a bit of a meeting with Natasha, who's jealous and upset because she fucked Decker, and Decker didn't give her any pointers or whatever. No, he was zeroed in on taking advantage of Agnes. And so we do get a brief thing of Natasha being railed by Decker. I don't really know why we need to see that, but maybe she was imagining it. Because Agnes ends up freaking out on the road, pulls off on the side, and then Pete, John Carroll Lynch, is like, well, you can't park here, because he's very New York in this, or maybe New York in general. But then sees that she's freaking out, and it's like, okay, wait, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you, getting her to breathe, this kind of stuff. And then they have a sandwich, they have a talk, and it's a really funny scene, it's a really moving scene, and it kind of advances things along. And then her cat brings in a mouse, and it's not quite dead, and she has to basically put it in a bag and then smash it with a book to kill it. And that actually kind of that kind of triggered something to me, because about 12 hours ago I had to do the same thing with my cat when he brought a mouse in. I love cats, but god damn it, I wish he would have just killed it. He killed it, don't get me wrong, that thing was stone cold dead. But it's like, ew. But it was a good scene. And she had also talked to Pete. Pete had a kid. Kids kind of screw up. She wasn't sure she wanted to have kids, but also there was a very nice scene in a bathtub after she had asked Gavin to come over. I had a rough time. Can you come after killing a mouse? Can you come over and fuck me? Oh, yeah, sure. Wait. I need shoes. And he goes back in his house to get shoes. These kind of cute moments that just really work. And she gets in the bath, and then he gets in the bath, but she wants to look at his soft dick because she said they look better like that and that kind of stuff, or they look good like that. And he's nervous. He has his issues, but she has her issues. And then there's a point where he gets behind her asking, oh, it's like a hug and like a bathtub. He doesn't do anything to her. Don't worry, it's fine. But she's nervous about, possibly having kids, but he thinks that she'd be a great mom because she's smart and all this kind of stuff and everything. She's a good person. And then we go back to the year with the baby. And Liddy had actually said in the opening minutes that she was going to have a kid. Now with her partner, Fran, they arrive and they were going to all go and see this landmark, this lighthouse. But that didn't work because somebody was going to have to stay. And Agnes says, you know what? You two go. Don't worry about it. Because she wasn't sure about interacting with the kid. The kid even cried seeing her, but that's what kids do. And then she ends up basically having a heart-to-heart with the kid. She sets the kid back down because the kid's kind of touching the face and this kind of stuff, and Agnes isn't sure how to handle this and puts the kid down. But then just the kid starts crying and says, okay, I'm picking you back up. And then talks to her. It's like, oh, you'd have such little hair and you're so little, you have such little clothes now. But I really hope that, when you grow up, some bad things could happen to you. And whatever does happen to you, I want you to know you can just tell me no matter what it is. And I don't know why that line got me. I don't know why the ending got me. But it did. Maybe I'm turning into a big old softy. I don't know. But that was a pretty goddamn moving ending right there. Talking about, going to college, this kind of stuff, interacting with people, you can just tell me and I'll listen. And realize that she could be a mother. And realize that things might actually be okay despite the horrible things she went through. A+. A+. I'm ending this review before I break down like I have in other reviews. So yeah, A+. Fabulous work by Eva Victor. And great work. Great work by everybody involved. Great work. Just really, really fucking solid ass movie. Agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritlin. Until we meet again, happy trails to you.